Welcome to the Do What You Love podcast, a podcast with a mixture of personal development and career advice to help you reach your full potential. Now over to your host, Life Purpose Champion, Amanda Heal.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Do What You Love podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Heal. I'm very excited today to have a special guest on the podcast, Shiley Ulrich from Lifestyle Advisors Pty Limited. Shiley started in financial planning in a one-week temporary position with Lifestyle Advisors Pty Limited. And now, believe it or not, she owns the company. Shiley loves helping people reach their financial goals. Now today, Shiley is going to talk to us about how redundancy can affect your budget, the effects of redundancy on lifestyle, and how you can discover what you can do with your payout money. Welcome to the show, Shiley.
Thank you for having me, Amanda. Good to speak to you.
Thank you for being here. Before I was made redundant, I didn't have a financial advisor, and I thought it was just for rich people who had investments. So tell me, what do financial advisors do?
So basically the role of a financial advisor is to pretty much help people on their financial and also their lifestyle journey. One of the reasons why we chose the name Lifestyle Advisors is because it's not all about having a big lump sum of money and investing it. It's about taking people on that journey to help them have the lifestyle that they want. And so we help with anything from cash flow and budgeting to, have you got the right superannuation? Are you doing the things that you can do to make your retirement lifestyle better? And it's a whole range of various things that we help people through. So most importantly, a financial advisor doesn't just sell your product to put money into. We just want to take you through that process about what's important for your lifestyle and what we can do to help you get there.
And it's not just for people who are thinking about retiring, is it? It's for all sorts of people.
Absolutely. All sorts of people, right from when you first start working to, protecting your family as far as like personal insurance is concerned, and then helping you through that journey to paying off your mortgage, whatever's important for you, reaching that retirement goal. So there's a whole range of various things that we can help with.
Fantastic. And you can provide advice over the phone as well as face-to-face?
Yes, we can, particularly with technology these days. So we can do video conferencing, or we can just have a chat over the phone. It is nice to get in front of a person and actually have a face-to-face conversation with somebody. But if that's limited with where they live or their time restrictions with work, we can certainly do pretty much anything over the phone as well.
Fantastic. How can people, if they want to get in touch with you, how can they contact you? And I'll give you an opportunity to do that again at the end.
So people can give me a call on my phone number, which is 0422 371192, or they can send me an email through shiley@lifestyleadvisors.com.au. Then we just take the phone conversation to finding out basically what are their initial needs, and then there's a few documents that they'll need to complete so that we can get a better understanding of what advice they're actually looking for and how we can help them.
And you have a very excellent blog too, don't you?
Yes, we are working on it. We're trying to sort of put together interesting topics, so it's not just all basic financial planning things. We want to sort of broaden what we're talking about so that it's of interest to people and they can relate to it in their lifestyle as well.
Excellent. And I can actually say from personal experience, it is a very interesting read. Someone who is facing redundancy, how important is it for them to get financial advice?
I think it's extremely important because a lot of people, generally they'll be facing fears of, what am I going to do after I get the redundancy? Should I take the redundancy if they have that option, if it's a voluntary redundancy? And so they kind of can be a little bit closed-minded about what their options are, and they may not be familiar with the whole experience to start with. And so they don't know what the future is going to hold. So seeing a financial advisor just takes away that focus on what they are thinking and get some experience from somebody else who's dealt with people that have gone through it. And then, we can sort of help them see where their budgets are at and take them through the journey as to where their future may sit once they've gone through the redundancy process. Is the redundancy just a straight, okay, I'm not going to work again, or will they be looking at changing their career or getting another job? And so all those different factors will come into play when we sit down and talk to them.
Well, let's look at budget first then. How does redundancy affect someone's budget, and how can you help with that?
Yeah, so it can affect it in a lot of ways. I mean, firstly, you're not going to be working, obviously. You've taken a redundancy. There's going to be a period of time where the income's not going to be coming in. And the lump sum that people get, and that's obviously going to vary. And depending on what their current living expenses are, how long is that lump sum going to last them? So we can crunch all the numbers and help them sort of through that journey of where are they going to spend the money? What is the best place to do it? And how are they going to support their income going forward? So we need to sit down and work out a budget as to what they need on a daily basis, what their lump sum is, and what's best to do that. They might have a mortgage that, we can suggest that they repay. We might be better off putting it into superannuation, or there could be a bunch of other things. They might just want to go on a holiday and have a bit of a break. So all those sort of things can just come into play, and we can sit down and work out the figures and give them reassurance as to where their future's going to sit.
I know when I did a budget for myself, I found out that I was being charged for 2 gym subscriptions instead of 1 because I'd changed gyms and the first one hadn't cancelled the membership.
Right. Yeah. It's not uncommon. A lot of people just go along their daily lives and money comes out of their bank account and they don't really look at it. When you actually sit down and you work out a budget and you work out where you're spending your money, it can be a bit of a surprise to some people. We've had clients that they end up with more money than they thought they had. And it's like, I can afford to have that extra coffee a day or whatever they want to do. And other people are like, I am spending a little bit too much. If I change a few things because I didn't realize I was spending money on this, I could get my mortgage paid off quicker. So sitting down and having a budget and working through that with an expert is a really, really helpful step.
But budgeting doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give up all those things you enjoy. You can never eat out. You can never go to the movies. You can never go on a holiday. It doesn't have to be that strict, does it?
Absolutely not. Yeah, that's right. When you do a budget, you want to take into account all the things that you want to do in life. And there's give and take on some things. What's more important is paying down the mortgage the highest priority, and you will sacrifice those coffees a day to get that done, or is enjoying your life, going out for the coffee, going out to the movies, those type of things. And so you'll sacrifice, okay, well, I can afford my mortgage to go on for a couple more years, or I can work a little bit longer because I want to enjoy what I'm doing now. And so those things are really important. And speaking to a financial advisor, we ask those questions about what's important to you and what do you want out of life. And then we can sit down and help go through that budget so that you can have your cake and eat it too.
Moving on to lifestyle now, what are the effects that redundancy can have on our lifestyle?
For somebody who's been in a role for quite some time and then to suddenly find themselves facing redundancy, and as I mentioned before, that can be either voluntary or involuntary, it plays a big emotional step with somebody because they're kind of looking at, well, what is their future and what's that going to look like? So when somebody is quite emotional about decision making, it can kind of blur where they think they need to go. And so sitting down with somebody who's external to, your emotions can be really beneficial as far as guiding you to yes, I am making the right decision, or yes, everything is going to be okay.
So you're like a fresh pair of eyes.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think that's what people need.
And so what are the options for people with their payout? What can they do?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, the list would be endless, really. And I mentioned a few of them before. Some people just, I've got a lump sum of money straight off the mortgage. Others, they could be closer to retirement and say, oh, well, this is an opportunity to, have that early retirement. And speaking from personal experience, that's exactly what my husband did. Unexpectedly, he was offered a redundancy and he accepted it. And so he got to retire at the age of 48. So having that lump sum of money is different for everybody. And, you know, some people might just want to go on a holiday, see it as a bit of I've never had that opportunity before, so I might use that money, go on a bit of a holiday, come back, reassess where I want to go and look for another job. So there is various different things. We can help with all those. As I mentioned earlier, it's not about just sitting down and selling your product because you've got some money to invest. So let's just invest it into here and away we go. It's what do you want out of it? And that may be an investment product, or it simply may just be, you know, let's look at your budget, let's pay your mortgage off, or let's put some money into super and go from there.
Or it can be a bit of a blend. I know in my case, I put some of the money on my mortgage and I put some of it into investments.
Absolutely, yeah. Blending is always good in financial planning.
Absolutely.
Because you're getting a bit of everything.
What do they say? You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket?
Absolutely, yes. That's so true.
Before we wrap up, do you have any general tips or advice that you'd like to share with the listeners?
I guess really it's don't panic, particularly if you're offered an involuntary redundancy. Don't panic. Just sit back, take a deep breath, and speak to an expert who can guide you through what you're about to face, because it can be very daunting. Think about how your budgets are, where they sort of sit, and think about where you'd like your future to go. And once you've sort of got a little bit of an idea, when you speak to a financial advisor, they'll ask you more questions, and then you can get a bigger picture of where you want to see your future. We can just then put in some strategies to whatever suits that individual person.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And would you like to provide your contact details one more time? I will, of course, put them in the show notes, but...
Absolutely. So you can contact me on 0422 371192 or email Shiley, that's SHYLEA, at lifestyleadvisors.com.au.
Thank you so much, Shiley. It's been an honour to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Amanda. It's been a pleasure.
Now, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Do What You Love podcast. Until next time, have a great day and do what you love.
You've been listening to the Do What You Love podcast with Amanda Heel. Feeling unfulfilled and frustrated and unclear what to do next? Access Amanda's Are You Living Out Your Purpose quiz and resources to get you started on your journey to doing what you love at www.purposevisionfuture.com. That's purposevisionfuture.com.